Hey there, and welcome to True Scary Stories. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment telling us where you're from and what time you're watching. That helps YouTube know you love creepy stories, and it'll keep sending more your way.
Story 1. The subscription John Mercer's life was a house of cards built on a foundation of quiet desperation. His tech startup was bleeding money, and his business partner Michael was the leak. Michael's creative accounting was a hemorrhage John couldn't staunch without destroying everything they'd built. The anger was a constant low hum in the back of his skull. One night, after a bottle of bourbon and a screaming match with Michael over the phone, John descended into the digital abyss. He used a special browser to access the deep web. In the past, it had been a place for morbid curiosity. Tonight, it was for solutions. He found a site called the Resolution Office. The design was stark, professional, and cold. It looked like a corporate website for a Fortune 500 company, but its services were anything but corporate. One page listed tiers of service: acquisition, silencing, and permanent retirement. His cursor hovered over the last one. A chat window popped up automatically. "Edmund, we note your extended visit to a premium service page. Can we assist with a resolution?" John's heart hammered. This was it, the point of no return. Drunk and furious, he typed out his problem. He gave Michael's name, his address, the make of his car. The admin, who called themselves Clerk, responded with chilling efficiency. "Clerk, we can facilitate a permanent retirement. The fee is 10,000 USD paid in Bitcoin. Transaction ID serves as your contract." John, his vision blurred by rage and alcohol, sent the money. The confirmation appeared. "Clerk, contract accepted. Subject is under review. Allow 72 hours for resolution. Please close this window and do not attempt to contact us. We will contact you." The next morning, the hangover was dwarfed by a seismic wave of regret. What had he done? He tried to log back in, but the site was gone, vanished. He spent the day in a cold sweat, jumping at every car door slam outside his suburban Boston home. He wasn't afraid of being caught. He was terrified he'd set something monstrous in motion. Hours passed. Nothing happened. A sliver of hope emerged. Maybe it was a scam. Maybe he just lost 10 grand to some kid in a basement. The thought was almost comforting. Then the first email arrived. It was from a scrambled address. Subject: invoice number 001 body. Service fee for ongoing logistical support. 5,000 USD. Payment required within 24 hours. John's blood ran cold. Ongoing? He didn't reply. He deleted it. The next evening, he found a photograph printed on plain paper on his windshield. It was a picture of his daughter, Sophie, walking home from school that afternoon. The email that followed was simple. Subject: invoice 001. Late payment. Notice body: the price is now 7,500 USD. Next notice will be sent to your wife's email. He paid. He paid instantly. The money was gone from his account, and a confirmation appeared. Payment received. Account in good standing. A week of silence. John started to breathe again. Then another email. Subject: service upgrade recommendation. Body: our threat assessment team has identified a new variable. Your partner is seeking new investors. This increases his profile and our operational complexity. A preemptive resolution is recommended. Upgrade fee 15,000 USD. John refused. He typed back a frantic email. "No. Stop everything. I want to cancel." The response was immediate. Subject: contract amendment denied body. Service contracts are binding. Failure to pay for recommended upgrades voids our non-interference agreement with the client. Your file will be open for review. The next day, Michael didn't show up to work. John called him, his hand shaking so violently he could barely hold the phone. Michael answered on the 5th ring. He sounded strange, slurred. "John? Man, weirdest thing. I fell down the stairs last night, woke up in the hospital. Concussion, 2 broken ribs. Doctor said it looked professional, like I was helped down them. Who did you piss off, man?" John dropped the phone. They weren't going to kill Michael. They were going to torture him. They were going to make John pay for every second of it, every hospital bill, every moment of fear, until he was bankrupt, or until he finally broke and paid for the permanent retirement to end both their suffering. He received another email. It was a live feed link. He clicked it. The video showed a first-person view of a car driving through his neighborhood. It turned onto his street. It slowed as it passed his house. The camera panned up to his bedroom window. The email title was, Subject, Operational Assessment Underway. John Mercer realized the true horror. He hadn't hired a hitman. He had signed up for a subscription service from a company that specialized in fear. And the monthly payments were just beginning. Story 2. The uninvited guest Sarah Latham's apartment in Portland was her sanctuary. A second-year graphic design student, she used the deep web as a source of inspiration for her art, a digital mausoleum of creepypasta and urban legends. It was a thrill, a safe scare before bed. One night she stumbled past the usual forums and found a link simply titled, Watch. It led to a stark black page with a single line of white text in the center. I am sitting in your house. She smirked. Lame. A cheap attempt at spooky. She closed the laptop and went to sleep. The next night, the site was still open in her browser. The text had changed. I am in your hall closet. A cold knot tightened in her stomach. It was a coincidence. A clever script that changed text based on the time. She walked to the closet, her hand hesitating on the knob. She yanked it open. Nothing. Just her winter coat and a pile of shoes. She let out a shaky laugh. Then her eyes drifted to the top shelf. Something was different. A small, dusty wooden box was pushed to the back. She'd never seen it before. Her breath caught in her throat. She dragged a chair over, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs. The box was light. She carried it to her kitchen table, the wood cold against her palms. Inside wasn't a dead thing or a threat. It was worse. It was a collection of her. A ticket stub from a concert she attended the previous month. A single earring she'd lost weeks ago. A printout of a private Instagram DM she'd sent to her best friend, complaining about her professor. Her blood turned to ice. This wasn't a digital prank. Someone had been inside her home. They had taken things and put them in a box for her to find. She spun around, her eyes scanning the dark corners of her apartment. Silence. She grabbed a kitchen knife, her knuckles white, and checked every room, every closet under the bed. She was alone. She ran back to her laptop to call the police. The browser screen glowed in the dark room. The text on the black site had changed again. You found my gifts. Now I don't have to be quiet anymore. As she read it, a new line of text appeared letter by letter as if typed by an invisible hand. Turn around. The air left her lungs. She slowly turned her head toward the dark hallway behind her. At the far end, the door to her bedroom was now closed. She had left it open. A soft, metallic scratching sound began to emanate from the other side of the door. It was the distinct sound of a knife being slowly dragged down the length of the wooden door. She screamed and scrambled for her phone, dialing 911 with trembling fingers. She begged for help, her voice a hysterical whisper. The operator told her to stay on the line, that a car was on its way. The scratching stopped. The bedroom door handle began to turn, slowly, deliberately. Sarah backed against the far wall, the knife held out in front of her. The door creaked open just an inch. Pitch blackness stared back from the gap. Her laptop chimed. She glanced at it. The live text feed had updated. The police are 7 minutes away. I have 5. The bedroom door swung open violently. There was nothing but darkness inside, but the darkness felt solid, alive, hungry. The text on the screen finalized her doom. I was always here. You just finally downloaded me. The last thing Sarah heard before the darkness rushed down the hall toward her was the sound of her own front door being quietly unlocked from the inside. Story 3. The Harvest, the town of Oak Haven, Minnesota, was a postcard. Population 2,300. Everyone knew everyone. Doors were left unlocked. Kids played in the streets until the streetlights came on. That innocence shattered the day the Harvest appeared. It started as a rumor, a distorted file on a dark web forum dedicated to hurting people. A user named The Gardener posted a PDF. He said towns were like gardens and some needed pruning. The file was called Oak Haven's Harvest. It was a list. Every single resident's name, address, and date of birth. But next to dozens of names was a code. The town sheriff, Roy Evans, first thought it was a sick joke. Then the Millers received a package. It was a USB drive. On it was a single video file, a compilation of home security footage from inside their own house. Moments they thought were private, arguments, intimate moments, their children sleeping. The code next to their name had been H1, full system compromise. The Johnsons' code was F1, financial roots. They woke up to their life savings gone. Their retirement accounts emptied. Their mortgage paid off. Not by them, but by someone who then foreclosed on it, putting the debt in their name. The most terrifying code was S1, soul harvest. Teenager Chloe Peterson had this code. She began receiving texts. They weren't threats. They were statements. Your shampoo smells like coconut. You cry yourself to sleep at 11:14 p.m. You have a scar on your knee from when you were 7. The texts were followed by a photo of her, taken from outside her window, holding the phone with these very messages on it. Oak Haven was poisoned. Trust evaporated. People looked at their neighbors with suspicion. Who was the gardener? Was it the quiet IT guy who worked from home? The disillusioned farmer whose land was failing? Everyone was a suspect. Sheriff Evans, working with State Cybercrimes Unit, traced the forum post. The gardener wasn't some master hacker. He was a local, a man named Ben Cooper, the town's head librarian, a meek, quiet man everyone ignored. They raided his house. It was clean. Too clean. His computer was a vanilla store-bought model with nothing on it. They were about to leave when Evans noticed it. The books. Ben Cooper had thousands of them meticulously organized. But one section was wrong. A set of classic novels was out of order by publication date. Evans pulled on a copy of Moby Dick. The entire bookcase swung inward with a soft click, revealing a hidden room. The walls of the room were not covered in scary posters or weapons. They were covered in detailed hand-drawn maps of Oak Haven, family trees connecting residents. Lines of code and complex algorithms were written on whiteboards. And in the center of it all was a powerful computer, its fans humming quietly. On the monitor was a live feed of the sheriff's own home. His wife was making dinner. Ben Cooper wasn't a hacker. He was a social engineer, a collector of secrets. For years he'd been the friendly librarian. He helped people set up their Wi-Fi. He recovered their lost passwords. He fixed their grandparents' computers. He had planted cookies, keyloggers, and remote access tools on almost every device in town. He didn't steal their data himself. He was the architect. The Harvest list was a catalog. He was selling access. He had auctioned off the Miller's home system to a voyeur. He'd sold the Johnsons' financial credentials to an identity theft ring. He'd sold Chloe Peterson's life to a stalker. The real horror wasn't the hidden room. It was what Evans found on the desk. A ledger. It listed every sale, every Bitcoin transaction, and at the bottom was a total sum, a fortune and a label, Project Completion Fund. The last entry in the ledger was for a new auction. The listing was titled, Total Town Assimilation, Master Control Protocols for Oak Haven's Infrastructure. The starting bid was astronomical. It included control of the town's power grid, water treatment, and emergency broadcast system. The gardener hadn't just wanted to steal from them, he had been mapping them, testing their weaknesses, and preparing the entire town for a final, terrifying sale to the highest bidder on the deep web. He wasn't pruning the garden. He was packaging it up and selling the soil, the trees, and the very air everyone breathed. The monster wasn't hiding in the dark web. He had been stamping their books and smiling at them for years.